All right, dude. It's time. I've put this off for too long. I promised y'all this video for years and years and years now, and it still has not come to fruition. It is time for this video to be released. It's time to do this shit. It's time to talk about the top 100 games ever made, according to me, myself, and I. So, so many caveats, so many different things we need to get into before we get into what we got to get into. I I have a lot of nostalgia on this list. There's a lot in this list that if I went back and played today, I probably would not enjoy nearly as much as I did when when I played it back in the day. Factoring that against games that I've played recently that are, modern and have all the bells and whistles of the modern games, it's tough. Um, And I also I don't want to go too far back into the nostalgia well where I'm picking things that I played as a 2-year old and I'm like, I loved that memory as a 2-year old. Well, I don't really remember that memory as a 2-year old because I was a fucking 2-year old. Um, so listen, it's tough, right? You're never gonna find the right balance. So I didn't go too far into the past, and I also didn't include like 2024 and 2025 games. Why do I have that 2-year cutoff? I don't know. It just doesn't feel right where it's like I need to reflect on these games for a little bit longer before I include them in an all-time list. I know that can be a little bit of a bummer. I totally get that, but I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. It just didn't feel right to me. Like I need a little bit more separation. So we go up to 2023. I don't think I have anything 2024 in here. But we do have 2023. We have Jedi, RE4 remake, um, Final Fantasy 16 even in there. So like we got some stuff that is of the last couple years, but I don't think anything 2024. I could be wrong. I tried not to include anything 2024. Guys, so here's the plan. I'm trying to keep the videos on the channel by and large 30, 40 minutes. I know this is going to be a multi hour long thing because we're not even doing the top 100 today. We're doing the locks, the likely locks, the bubblers, and the weakest links. So we're going through this list of like 200 games and we're trying to whittle it down into the camp of games that will 100% be in the top 100, the camp that will likely be in the top 100, the camp that could be in the top 100, and the games we got to get rid of. So that's today's task. Can we do it in 40 minutes? No. Can we try? Let's get into it. Crash Bandicoot has to be a lock. Um, yeah, the first Crash is absolutely positively without a shadow of a doubt. It has to be in that top 100. That game means so much to me. Played it with my uncle, who was, one of my only male role models growing up, and he's no longer with me. Love the shit out of that guy, and great memories with that game. So and I did actually play it recently, and I still do think it holds up great. It doesn't do the whole 3D thing where it's like we don't really know how to do 3D controls, so we're going to give you a 3D open world to go explore, and it's going to feel like total shit because we haven't figured this out yet. It's like perfectly a restraint. It has a great sense of restraint for Crash Bandicoot, the OG, and all of them really. Um, Bushido Blade, I mean, that's probably a weakest link, right? Like, I don't think that's getting into a top 100. Great concept of every strike mattering so much, and any given moment can be your death in the Bushido Blade battle, but not a top 100 game. Metal Gear Solid 1 is absolutely a top 100 game. I mean, I didn't really even appreciate storytelling until playing Metal Gear Solid 1 because I was playing games like Resident Evil 2, which is definitely a lock as well. Resident Evil 2, y'all already know is going to be a lock, going to be in there. No need to even expand upon my thoughts right now. We will definitely expand upon my thoughts on Resident Evil 2 at a later time. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Ooh, damn, I haven't thought about where I think of this game in terms of like overall ranking. Bubbler? I don't know. That's interesting. I like that game a lot. I like the original more than the remake, but I don't know if I can see it in a top 100 necessarily. Parasite Eve, I do think is likely a lock for somewhere in that top 100. That game's great. That game is really, really good. And I think that story is immaculate. It does not get nearly enough credit because that came out the same year as MGS1. So, so some Square was telling some very mature stories in that same kind of window as well. Parasite Eve does not get nearly enough credit. Apologies, taking a quick drink. Um, and also should say probably not going to be overly edited. I'll throw in some gameplay and shit like that in there. It's going to be good. It's going to everything. It'll have enough bells and whistles in the edit that way. It's hopefully can have a decent presentation for y'all for the viewers. CTR, that's likely a lock. CTR is so fucking fun. Unbelievably fun. I mean, it's my favorite kart racer of all time. So, yeah, I think that's got to be a lock. Twisted Metal 2 is my favorite Twisted Metal, but I don't really see a Twisted Metal. I don't know, Black was awesome as well. Twisted Metal Black, Twisted Metal 2, both great. Um yeah, I we'll go. I mean, it's probably a weakest link. I don't think a Twisted Metal game is going to make it, but I will say Twisted Metal. I think two in specific. Those games, like I love vehicular combat because of Twisted Metal. When I see that in a Mad Max or a Sandland or whatever, like Twisted Metal is what makes games like a Mad Max or a Sandland and shit like that more appealing to me because I love doing that shit so much in Twisted Metal. Silent Hill 1 is likely a top 100 game of all time for me. Great atmosphere, great sense of place, not great gameplay. WrestleMania 2000, probably a weakest link, only because WWF No Mercy is likely a lock. I almost want to put lock full blown, but likely a lock. X-Men 92, the arcade game, is 100% a lock. It's the only arcade game I have on the list. It is the only arcade game that I ever loved. And you play the Cruisins, you play the fucking Cabela's hunting games, you play the I don't even fucking remember a lot of them. The light gun games. What was it? Not fucking. Why am I thinking Time Splitters? But it's Time Crisis or you have those games, but the one that I really really loved was the X-Men arcade game, and having that at the local bowling alley, and just I played the fuck out of that thing. I loved that game. Um, like if I had real fuck you money, I would have that classic arcade. I don't really want the because they do have the one up arcade of it, don't they? Um, I think they do. I could be wrong on that as well, but I want the original arcade cabinet. If I had like a fucking nice ass crib, I'd for sure spend I think it's probably like 5 grand or so at this point. Um, Punch Out, another classic that this is one of the only ones that I have from a really, really young age on there because I have, I shouldn't say gone back and played it a lot, but I have played it besides just playing it as a 2-year-old. And it's really one of the only, NES games or really games from just that era in general, NES, SNES, any of that shit that I uh, have ever gone back to at all. So I thought to include it in here, but once again, if we're being completely real, it's probably a weakest link. I don't think it's going to hang when you're talking top 100. When you got games like Crash Bash, when you're going up against games like Crash Bash, which is absolutely positively a lock. Crash Bash, and this once again, the I'm not ordering this at all. We'll get to that when we get to. I'm just kind of throwing them in a tier. Crash Bash, dude. I love this party game, and I know I'm partial towards Crash, but I'm partial towards that era of PlayStation because I had a PlayStation and not an N64. I had a cousin who had an N64. I had a cousin who had fucking all that shit, so I played it on his system. I played a lot of the N64 stuff on his system, and then later got one myself as an adult. But of course, the classic memories come from the PS1 since that was the system I had in my house, and Crash Bash was my party game of choice. I think that there's a lot of I love the damn what was it, like the air hockey sort of segment where you're pretty much you're the bumpers, you're kind of defending, you're playing goalie to some extent and hitting the balls back, and the sections on the pogo stick and the sections where you're hitting each other off of this fucking glacier thing, and the glacier's kind of breaking into smaller segments. And I don't know, that Crash Bash was fun as hell. I love that game, and then played that somewhat recently, and I still think it holds up pretty damn well. Now, what does not hold up well is SmackDown 1 and 2 on the PS1. I have a tough time seeing these. Listen, I mean, I can't lie. The first time I played, because I didn't have any good wrestling games on the PS1, Warzone and Attitude fucking sucked. And so when you got SmackDown, it was like, oh my God, an actually competent system, competent wrestling game on the system that I own. And so maybe we give SmackDown 1 bubbler credit, but SmackDown 2 is probably not going to make it, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1, probably a weakest link. I don't see it making because I do, yeah. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 is a lock. Without a doubt, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 is getting in there, and Tony Hawk Underground 1. Where'd it go? There it is. Tony Hawk Underground 1 is without a doubt getting in there. And Tony Hawk Underground 2 is at least a lock. I mean, at least a likely lock. So those they're all getting in there somewhere in that mix. Um, but Tony Hawk 1, it didn't we love Tony Hawk 1, but whenever they really, when they introduce the manual and you're doing these crazy combos and you're doing the multiplayer and the creation suites for the parks, and just it got to a whole different level with 2. And then 3 and 4, definitely adding in revert for 3, like a lot of appreciation for some of those changes, the more open world aspects of 4. But really when it goes to Thug 1 and 2, that's my shit. Resident Evil 1, the remake, I got to be honest, I don't have as much love for this game as most people do. I didn't have a GameCube when it came out, so I played it once again with my cousin. I pretty much watched him play through the entire thing, and I would assist in the playthrough. And then I played through it for the first time myself, I think when it came to the PlayStation 3. Um, and then, I've played it on PS4 as well, but like I I struggle with this game, man. I don't love it as much as most people, and I know that's sacrilegious. I just don't have the nostalgia like most people do for it. And it's the unfortunate thing where I do have the nostalgia for RE2 and Code Veronica and even RE3 to some extent. And then of course, RE4, I think everybody and their fucking mom has nostalgia for RE4, but RE1 remake I think is a bubbler. I think, listen, if I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, if RE3, the OG, doesn't get in there, RE1, the remake, isn't going to get in there. The Sims 1 is probably a lock. The Sims 1 is, we'll go likely lock just in case we got to make some cuts and it's getting tough. But The Sims 1, I mean, dude, holy shit. The Sims 1 is, I've sunk, and it's the weird thing where it didn't happen with The Sims 2 or 3 or the herbs or any of that shit. It was just The Sims 1, going in and putting in the cheats and building up this badass house and then creating the chick that you had the hots for at school, and going on and living this beautiful beautiful life with your romantic interest at the time. I think I was first grade when that shit came out, second grade or some shit. It just, I don't know, man. The Sims 1, whatever magic, whatever special sauce that The Sims 1 in particular had, I, I, I don't know. I fucking really, really, really enjoyed the that first Sims game. So I have to put it in at the at the lock tier. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I would have a tough time. I really would like to see the Sims one make that final, that final top 100. Jedi Power Battles. I love you, but it's not making top 100. I played a lot of that with my buddy. I think I've talked about him before, but my buddy Brandon, he shares, we share a name. Um, and he's a fucking doctor now, just absolute gangster, smart as a motherfucker. He definitely got the better of the Jedi power battle. He got the better of the Brandon power battle. He ended up with a hell of a brain on him. Um, and yeah, man, we played the fuck out of that thing, and we still talk about it today. You remember the platforming, how difficult the platforming in that shit was? Um, all right, Spyro, first Spyro. I mean, I doubt it. Listen, I doubt it. Midnight, is that Midnight Club 1? The fuck did I put that on there? No chance. Where's Midnight Club 3? I gotta have Midnight Club 3. Did I not put Midnight Club 3 in here? I had to have. Oh, I was about to lose my fucking mind. All right, so Midnight Club 3. It's likely a lock. I love Midnight Club 3, the open world, just the racing feels so good, the introduction of motorcycles and just the customization on offer in Midnight Club 3. Midnight Club 3 is the shit. Code Veronica, I will go. Let's, yeah, likely a lock. I think I like Code Veronica more than I like RE1 and RE3, so likely a lock for Code Veronica. Spider-Man 1 on the PS1, unfortunately, probably not. It's still a fun game. It's definitely aged quite a bit. The web's attaching to absolutely nothing, and there's some of that like once again not quite really understanding the 3D space, but it does play pretty fucking well for a 3D PlayStation 1 game. Like it's a fun game to play, and awesome cutscenes, cool costumes, and it's a fun game to play. But when we talk about Spider-Man, let's go ahead and grab our Spider-Man. Where are you at, my Spider-Man 2? Spider-Man 2 for the PS2 absolutely has to be somewhere in that likely lock camp. Um, Ultimate Spider-Man has to be somewhere in that likely lock camp. And then you go into some of the more recent Spider-Man shit. Where is old 2018? Yeah, bring 2018 on up. Maybe I should have waited for 2018 because boy, we got a list of games to get through. So yeah, we'll actually wait on the rest of these. I'll go ahead and throw 2018 in the lock or likely lock camp. Actually, I'll throw 2018 Spider-Man in the straight up lock. Like I'm not having a top 100 without that game in it. What a fucking video game. All right, then we get to, if I'm being real, all Spyro. I love you, Spyro. I had fun with you, but there's not going to be a Spyro game cracking this top 100. I shouldn't have even included that in there. Metal Gear Solid 2 is easily, easily, easily in that top 100. I'd be surprised if that's not top 10. It's one of the greatest stories that's ever been told. Grand Theft Auto 3 is a lock. It's got to be in there. It's the most influential game of my lifetime, probably. It's not one of the best. I will be real. You go back and play GTA 3, it's dated as fuck compared to the others, but it's so, so influential. And then when I played that, everything changed from that point on. SmackDown, just bring it. No, it's a weakest link. Once again, because when you're talking, I got a couple duplicates in there, so I apologize. Sometimes I have fucking brain fog. Um, because SmackDown, when you get into Shut Your Mouth and when you get into, of course, Here Comes the Pain, I would like to see both of those up there. SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, I think maybe has a little bit more compelling of a season mode. I think the roster's a little bit better in Shut Your Mouth. You're talking about WCW, some of those prime guys coming over at that time, and then right into that ruthless aggression era, which that even more so takes place in Here Comes the Pain. But yeah, and Shut Your Mouth, that's where you have like the fist that you can jump off of, and Those are close, but Here Comes the Pain has the perfect gameplay systems and the cinematic kind of panning with the finishers, and it's that correct blend between simulation style gameplay that's replicating the TV counterpart versus the old school arcade gameplay. It's the perfect blend of those two. I think we're going Here Comes the Pain lock, but that's tough. I'd like to see both of them in the top 100, but it's going to be tough to get two games that are that similar into the top 100. NBA Street Volume 1, likely a lock. I played so much of NBA Street Volume 1, but I will say, do I have NBA Street Volume 2 on here? Oh, wow. I don't. Okay, yeah, I did. I'm going to go ahead and drop NBA Street Volume 2 in the weakest links category. It's not NBA Street 2 is the better game, but it's just not the better game for me personally. And once again, you're going to get into some degree of bias with this. It's nothing but bias, nothing but subjectivity. So I get it. I anybody's screaming right now being like NBA Street Volume 2 is so much better. I totally agree. I just have way more nostalgia for NBA Street Volume 1. Jumping in with Michael Jordan, going through the pickup games, selecting the best player from the other roster. Max Payne 1 is a bubbler. I'd like to see it up there. It that's likely a lock. Max Payne 1 is likely a lock. That mechanic, the bullet time mechanics and that slow down shooting system, it changed everything. And even though maybe I like Max Payne a lot, but I think other games that I love so much that use that mechanic, like you gotta show love to Max Payne for introducing it. Devil May Cry 1, bubbler. Devil May Cry 1's a bubbler. I love Devil May Cry 1 in its kind of Resident Evil inspired design choices. Like you can definitely tell that there's Resident Evil bones in that. Like that was supposed to be Resident Evil 4. Yeah, I think that yeah. Yeah, that would have been RE4 that they were kind of trying to build this as and then turned it into its own thing. And you can definitely feel that, but I haven't played it in so long, so it's hard to really go to bat for it. I need to replay it. SSX Tricky, another bubbler. Another one that if they remastered it today, I would be all fucking over it. And that's the unfortunate thing about building these lists is like if there's something that you really loved from back in the day, but you haven't played it in a while, I don't know what to tell you, man. It's hard for me to put you in there. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, drop that in the weakest link, like we talked about earlier. Silent Hill 2, shit. Great story. Some really annoying gameplay sections in Silent Hill 2. They're the original. It's probably above everything in the weakest link camp, but it's a bubbler. Extermination. Why the fuck did I include this? That's a weakest link. I got two copies of Twisted Metal Black. We'll go ahead and drop both of those in the weakest link camp. Dope ass games, but I don't think they're going to make top 100. GTA Vice City. I mean, yeah, what the fuck am I even hesitating for? That's a lock. For sure that's going to be in the top 100 easily. Shut Your Mouth again, we'll remove that when we get to it. Or we'll just kind of put it in the likely locks right next to the other one just to remind me that it's irrelevant. It's just a duplicate. Um, Mafia 1. Do I have Mafia 1 the remake on here? I think I did include it. Ooh, did I not include it? Okay, yeah, it's right there. So we're gonna drop Mafia 1 into the weakest link camp because Mafia 1 the remake is gonna take its place. You know what I mean? It's if I'm gonna play one or the other, I'm going to play the remake. Incredible story out the gate with Mafia 1 in 2002, but yeah, I would go with the remake if I'm gonna pick one or the other today. Resident Evil Zero though, I like RE0 a lot, man. I mean, listen, it's right there with those other RE3, RE1 remake. I like Zero a lot. I know that's a hot take. I like Zero a fuck ton. Sly Cooper. I went back and played this last year. I didn't finish it, but I really enjoyed it. It's such a well, it's such a it respects your time so much, and it's also just such great level design in Sly Cooper 1. Really, really appreciate that game. With that said, it's probably not a top 100 game for me. Star Wars Bounty Hunter, I fucking love this game. I think it's so damn fun, so janky. It's not a top 100 game. Um, RE1 remake, didn't I? Yeah, I already had that. That's right in there with the other one. We'll just go ahead and throw both of them together. So, and then we have Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast, the first Jedi Knight. This is not Jedi Academy, and that's kind of the separation here, where Jedi Outcast is not going to be in the top 100, but Jedi Academy is without a doubt going. I shouldn't say without a doubt. Yeah, fuck it. I want that in the top 100. Nah, but it's somewhere in that likely a lock. It's got to be in that camp with the likely locks. I don't think I could reasonably place that in the full blown top 100. So we'll go likely lock. Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. So do we have? Yeah, I think I got the other. Where are the other Mortal Kombat entries? Okay, yeah, we got Armageddon right here. And did I not grab? Huh. Okay, I mean, yeah. All right, that's fine. Um, so Deadly Alliance is probably of the two the Mortal Kombat game that I would choose. I like Armageddon a lot, but Deadly Alliance was just it had so much crazy shit going on. Um, but neither is probably in the top 100. I I know we're filling up that damn we are filling that motherfucking weakest link category up, but once again we got 200 games in here. So we need to fill it up. It's just I need to have everything. I need to be able to look at all of this to be able to actually go in and make those hard cuts and to see it kind of all stacked up against one another. Is that Dead to Rights? Why the hell do I have Dead to Rights in there? Dead to Rights is once again fun Max Payne style of clone, but not top 100. Um, it really what I did to be completely transparent. I went through every year, and if there was a game that released in that year that I was like, yeah, I really, really enjoy that video game, I just kind of jotted it down. And when we get into the nostalgia shit, I start looking at it and I'm like, I really, really like that. I remember loving that. I think that's one of my favorite games of all time. And then I see it again and I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking when I was jotting that down? But Dead to Rights 2 is dope. Beyond Good and Evil. That is no Beyond Good and Evil is a full blown lock. Like Beyond Good and Evil is without a doubt in that top 100 camp, certainly. Silent Hill 3 is 100% coming into that top 100. Yeah, Silent Hill 3 is the best one of the trilogy in my opinion. Silent Hill 3 is from storytelling excellent, the gameplay is refined, looks great. Yeah, Silent Hill 3 is so dope. Madden 04 is probably a bubbler. It's one of the better Madden games of all time. We played the shit out of it as kids, but you go to Madden 05, we played more of this, and that's when the hit stick was introduced. That was a game changer, so that's likely a lock. But then you go to NFL 2K5, and that is without a doubt a lock. That's the best football game that's ever been made, in my opinion, the best sports game that's ever been made. 20 years later, I still don't think that statement is incorrect. Um, Remarkable. Do I have other sports titles on this list that is somewhere around that era? Okay, we got All Pro Football 2K. We'll get to that then. We got a little bit of separation. Simpsons Hit and Run. I think that's a bubbler. Simpsons Hit and Run is probably a bubbler. Simpsons Hit and Run is, I think they were so intelligent in being able to go in and design that world and not make it exactly a clone of Grand Theft Auto, like not over the top, hyper fixation on violence. Like it's still fun, charming, quirky Simpsons action. And it's also not too big of an open world. Like it was they had such great self-awareness in exactly what they wanted to execute, and they didn't overscope, they didn't underscope. It's just kind of like the perfect video game from that era in terms of length, in terms of activity inside of this open world environment, and just recapturing Springfield to that degree. So impressive. Freedom Fighters. Freedom Fighters was great. Third person tactical shooter. The strategic elements were dope as fuck at the time. Um, this sort of fictionalized what if scenario. What if it was Russia? What if Russia they've colonized America and you're kind of underground and then fighting up with this small resistance force and yeah, man, Freedom Fighters was fucking dope, and it was right before we got into everything being super over the shoulder RE4 inspired. So it was a good separation from the camera to the back of the character, so you could see the world around you pretty well. I miss shooters that were a little bit, you know, the camera was pulled back a little bit. I miss that. Freedom Fighters. I will drop it in the bubbler. I think that's a bubbler title. True Crime Streets of LA is not going to make the top 100. I think that game is dope, and that recreation of LA is really impressive. Still one of the more impressive feats on the PS2. But when it's stacked up against something like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, where you have a fictionalized version of Las Vegas and South LA, it's like, holy shit. Seamless transition between Vegas and fucking LA. And just being able to explore two entirely different open worlds in one game with no loading screens and going in doing all of these crazy fucking sim like elements, lifting weights, getting bigger, going to eat, getting fatter, going to shoot, getting your shot better, going to swim, increasing your lung capacity, going for bike rides, increasing your stamina. Like what a fucking video game. And then the best story from any Grand Theft Auto game of that era, maybe the best story of any Grand Theft Auto game ever. Metal Gear Solid 3. All right, yeah, I was thinking like, can we get through this entire video in one go? There's definitely no chance, right? Bummer. Um, how about we close off around, let's get through everything PS2, and then we'll the next video will be maybe finishing it all up, but you don't want to, let's see. Man, yeah, I don't think I can get through all of this. And that way we can talk a little bit about the games. Still want to go through it in a rapid pace because we'll talk more about them when we're presenting them and ranking them individually and having to really debate, where goes, does this game go here? Does that game go there? Sort of those debates. MGS3, man, I don't like it as much as one or two, but it's still fucking peak Kojima, peak insanity. But Metal Gear Solid 3 is actually the least insane. I mean, there's some insane shit in there, but it's the least insane of that original three. 4 is batshit, but one is more batshit than three. Two is more batshit than one and three. I don't know. But the gameplay, the survival elements, going in and you got to eat what you kill, camouflaging yourself, tending to your wounds. Like, that was really impressive. It's likely a lock. Def Jam Fight for New York it's in there. Like, no fucking doubt about it. Def Jam Fight for New York is a lock. That game is incredible. I played that like 2 years ago, replayed it. That game is fucking incredible. Still to this day, plays so well. That's one of the very few games from 20 plus years ago that has not aged a single day. You go back to that, play that now, and it plays like you would expect a, third person 3D wrestler, brawler, fighter. Like, it plays just as well as any of your modern brawler fighter, like that style of gameplay. It just hasn't really aged because it hasn't really been replicated. You know what I mean? It's so original. and kind of taking and going a little bit more in the street fighting direction opposed to the wrestling, but still having the wrestling moves and the finishers with Henry Rollins being able to teach you them and going in and decking out your character in jewelry and your different clothing shops and having like a fully fleshed out story with great cinematics. And yeah, Def Jam Fight for New York is excellent, dude. Okay. So we still got a little bit to go. Let's burn through this. Half-Life 2, that's for sure a fucking lock. Half-Life 2, the physics on offer in that game is still mind-boggling. The just the level of when you get to like that what is it, Ravenholm, that area, and then you have the saw blade thing and you're ripping through enemies' guts and leaving their body dangling on two sides, head, torso on one, legs, waist, legs, feet on the other side. And um just some of the there's some cool shit in there where you like even some of the vehicle, the exploration stuff has great physics, kind of these naturally occurring moments that feel so dynamic and can feel so different depending on what you choose to do as the player. There's just, yeah, Half-Life 2 was excellent, and a really good story, a really really good story. The Suffering one, yeah, I mean that's probably a bubble title. Very impressive once again in terms of what it's doing with the enemy design, and each of them representing some sort of some sort of torture device, some sort of lethal termination while they're in jail, some sort of execution that they received while being in prison, on death row, their death sentence, the way that they died in prison, the way that they were executed in prison, and then them being reflected as such in terms of the monster design, like literally designing it to where you see the way that they were executed in their character design. Really brilliant shit. It's it's got very solid gameplay, but it is a little bit like I don't even necessarily it's not necessarily rough around the edges. It's just not quite like when you play something like Freedom Fighters, I think you're getting a better third person shooter than when you're playing something like The Suffering. The Suffering's balls to the wall, over the top, gory, horror, just action packed, but it's not like a Dead Space. Now, it's hard to compare it because it is, once again, still that pushback style of camera, which I love, but I don't know, something about that kind of up close, visceral nature to something like a Dead Space kind of lends itself better to horror. The tighter experience over the shoulder being when that zombie's right up in your fucking grill and you're like, oh shit, I didn't see it there. Like you don't quite get that same feeling in The Suffering to that degree. Jet Li Rise to Honor, I do want to mention the cool shit that you can do with the right analog stick in this game, where that's kind of dictating your combat patterns and shit, your combat styles, the moves you pull off. I love when games introduce new ways to do traditional, like we think we have, okay, square and circle and triangle, these are your attack moves. And it's like, well, no, we're going to kind of flick a stick around, and sure, sometimes it doesn't work all that well, but like this and Obi-Wan for the original Xbox, like I just really appreciate different takes on shit like that, but it's not top 100. SmackDown versus Raw 2006 without a doubt is top 100. Um that's a lock. That is absolutely a lock. There's no world where that's not making my top 100. So, how many? I probably need to check this. So it's one, two, three, four, five, six, 7 games per row. So we're at 7, 14, 21. Mm. Okay, well, we're not quite at 21, but we're about to be at 21 for the locks. And then, so you go in 28, 35. Fuck me. We're already at uh, about halfway, and we still got way more than half to go in terms of the game. That's okay though. That's the fun of it, right? And maybe that'll be its own. Maybe this will be like 10 fucking parts. Hey, don't rush it. Let's just have fun. Enjoy the shit. And yeah, let me know if you liked the video. Like it, drop a like, and there's really no I was gonna say, and I'll make more like it. There's no debate. This is all getting done. If this receives 0 likes, 0 engagement, fuck it. I've committed to this way to how many years have I been telling you I'm gonna make a top 100 and I still haven't made a fucking top 100. That top 100's getting made. Jade Empire's in the top 100. Yeah, without a doubt. That's a lock. Jade Empire is one of BioWare's best games and it does not get talked about as such and I just think that's fucking criminal. This mixed martial arts weird hybrid fantasy style game with shoot 'em up elements and just absolute absurdity. It doesn't quite delve into choice and consequence as much as most BioWare games do, but you still get a good degree of that mixed with a whole lot of other weird shit. RE4, yeah, yeah. I like to give room for more games. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to have RE4 OG, RE4 remake, RE2 OG, RE2 remake, but like what the fuck, man? This is one of the most influential games of my lifetime as well. This and GTA 3 are probably 1 and 2, you know? And Halo. God of War 2005. Man, God of War 2005 was so impressive at the time. I'm not a major God of War guy though. I've played all of them, love all of them. I think go I might go God of War 2 over it. God of War 2 was a spectacle, man. God of War 2 had some of the craziest moments that I'd ever seen in a video game. I think you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to drop both God of War 1 and 2 in the bubblers camp. Those games are dope. And God of War 3. I should have God of War 3 on here. Where are you? There you are. God of War 3 was also an absolute spectacle. Where did I drop it? Oh, there it is. Um, and just like everybody thinks of the sex scene and all that shit, but which is fucking awesome as well. But there's just so much about that game that like it really was pushing the PlayStation 3. And this was kind of right in that swing where Sony was on their shit with the PS3. What would that would have been 2010, I think. Yeah, that was Infamous 2 was '09, I think. And Infamous 1 was like no, Infamous maybe Infamous 2 was 2011 and Infamous 1 was '09, and then Uncharted 2 was right in there. And then, shortly following it, the last of it, like they were cooking. And yeah, the God of War 3 is kind of, it seems like right there in that middle where they were, yeah, they were on rolling on all cylinders, firing on all cylinders. Indigo Prophecy, it's not gonna make it. Indigo Prophecy was one of the first choose your own adventure style of games I ever played, and I was enamored by that idea. But there's a lot of jank, a lot of wonky shit, just in terms of the quick time events and stuff that did not age well. I went back and played the remaster, and it did not age well. Neither did NBA Live '06, but NBA Live '06 is a lock. This is making my top 100. I do not care. This is my favorite basketball game ever. Um, we played this more than any basketball game ever, and the freestyle moves, the dunk contest, the freestyle moves were the that being introduced in this game. It changed everything for us. Like it was you saw kind of what NBA 2K would go on to perfect with the animations, where each player had their own move set and did things differently and shot differently and played differently. And like, I don't know, to us, that was just so cool. And we would go out and we had this dirt court with it was all grass around the basketball court, but we dribbled the ball so much on there that it just the fucking grass faded away and it was left with nothing but dirt. And the ball, we were out there and just trying to pull off all of those freestyle moves with this dirt court that, sometimes the ball hits a weird hole and then falls. Like you're not really able to perform these moves properly or anything, but it was just, we loved NBA Live '06, man. That was our fucking game, going in and playing the dynasty modes and the fantasy drafts and signing an aging Reggie Miller to your roster, and you press L1 in circle and just lock in with that. He did that shot where he barely got up off the ground, but he nailed all of them. Peja Stojakovic, same thing. Put Peja Stojakovic in the 3-point contest, just burn them bitches down. Do the what was it? L1 R1 circle circle, where you would do the cartwheel, jump up in the air, and then do between the legs twice the dunk, the armpit dunk with Vince Carter. Like, dude, I could go on and on. Okay, so I guess that's it, right? Yeah, I think that's it. Everything else, well, no, because we're right there in that weird period, huh? Where it's that separation where there's the 360 had come out, so you're getting games like Saints Row and Bully that are also on the 360, SVR 07, but a lot of these are also PS2. Um, hmm. Let's clear out until we get to Gears of War because I think everything from Gears of War on is full blown 360 PS3. So, once again, apologies, guys. Maybe I'll try to release this on a day where I haven't posted the day before. I get it. It's a lot, man. I trying to get out there, trying to fall upon some new eyeballs. Um, Oblivion. Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Played this, finished this for the first time a couple years ago. This is a lock. It's a likely lock. Oblivion's a likely lock. Very, very, very bad combat. Awesome story. Awesome world. Yeah, Oblivion's a likely lock. And yeah, I was gonna already go in and straight into Skyrim, but you know what? We'll just save it. Hulk Ultimate Destruction. Fuck, that game is so fun. I like Ultimate Spider-Man more. There's more moments with Ultimate Spider-Man, the Wolverine shit and getting to play as Venom, but still a bubbler. Ultimate Destruction still a bubbler. Like if we're needing games to get into that top 100, I'd like for that one to be one of them. Mercenaries probably not. Mercenaries is dope. Do I have Mercenaries 2 on here as well? Both of them are dope. Neither of them are probably going to make the top 100. Um, but yeah, RIP. What a awesome sandbox, militaristic style sandbox that they created. NCAA '06 has to get on there. Well, ooh, so NCAA '06 or '07 actually. Do I have '07 on here? Okay, well, perfect. If I don't have '07 on here, then '06. But maybe should I include '07 on the next one? But no, no, no. '06. '06 was the first one where they started doing the trials and everything, like where you tried out for the team at the beginning. And then '06 just kind of iterated on that and like they introduced the 40-yard dash and all that, which I appreciate. But '06 was the one that really broke that open. Um, that's likely a lock. No, it's a bubbler. It's a bubbler. It's a bubbler. We didn't play that quite as much as we played like Madden '05 and NFL 2K5 and NBA Live '06. Um, Saints Row, first game, probably not. We're going to put the first one in the bubbler. I love the street level, more scaled back crime drama, block to block. Like it's more about the intensity on the block opposed to taking over the world and becoming the president and becoming a superhero. And like, I love that shit as well, but I like the more intimate block by block kind of that dynamic is more appealing to me. Bully is a lock. Bully's one of the greatest games ever made. It is an absolute crime that there's not a Bully 2. It's a crime that there's not Bully clones. It's a crime that that never became, this big new kind of subgenre like a GTA clone, like a Souls like, whatever. I guess you get Persona games and shit, but it's not that. SmackDown versus Raw 2007 is so listen, I'm gonna throw it in the bubbler. I like '06 more. '06's GM mode is just it's everything, man. SmackDown versus Raw '07, great, but if I had to pick one or the other, I'm going '06. The Godfather, I like The Godfather a lot, but probably not. Unfortunately, Scarface, on the other hand, yeah, Scarface is fucking dope. That's a bubbler. Tomb Raider Legend, probably not, but that's a fun fucking Tomb Raider game. One of my favorite Tomb Raider games. One of the most underrated Tomb Raider games. Damn, man, we're getting into that bag of shit that I have so much nostalgia for that I do not want to put in the weakest link category. But 007 Everything or Nothing. Do I like it more than everything on this bottom list? Yeah. Do I like it more than everything on the bubbler? No. It's in the bubblers. That game's so fun. Rappelling down a building and hopping on the motorcycle and just over the top action. And that game's so fun. Ultimate Alliance isn't making it. I love Ultimate Alliance. X-Men Legends 2 might make it. X-Men, yeah, yeah. X-Men Legends 2 is gonna out of these games, Ultimate Alliance 1, 2, and X-Men Legends 1 and 2, X-Men Legends 2 would be the one that cracks. It'll probably be in Bubbler Camp though, having a much fucking kind of bigger plot, obviously, with Apocalypse. And yeah, it was a much bigger, much more ambitious project. But X-Men Legends 1 is dope as well, as is Ultimate Alliance. And then we go into, man, so now we're X2 Wolverine's Revenge. A lot of nostalgia for this. Not a great game, but I have so much fucking nostalgia for this game. I would probably drop this in at, yeah, it's a weakest link, unfortunately. Another weakest link. Gears of War 1, that's a bubbler. Oh, okay, whoa, whoa, whoa. That pause, pause, pause. Let's stop right there at Gears of War 1. I think everything from this point on, PS3, PS4, and PS5. So we're talking about, the final three generations. So we went through PS1, PS2, some classic shit in there. Um, so yeah, that's we'll cap the recording right here. I'll keep this tier list. I'll make sure to screenshot it just in case it gets fucked up. But yeah, we'll keep this tier list right here as is. I'll save this and then we'll go back and finish this up in a future video. So make sure to like it, make sure to subscribe if you are new, and we will absolutely positively, without a shadow of a doubt, finish up this top 100 list. Appreciate you all so very much for tuning in, and I shall see you all in the next video. Take it easy, guys. Goodbye.